Well, good morning, and thank God it is Friday. This was quite the week. Of course, on Wednesday, I had a birthday. I turned 74 years old, which was really kind of a shock to not only me, but to some other people who were kind of like, wow, I didn't think you were that old. Oh, well, thanks. You know, what, do I not look that old? That's a compliment. Or do I not act about that old? That's a compliment. Or, as one said, well, now that you're older, are you getting wiser? And I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I'm still doing stupid stuff. It's just that when you're done doing stupid stuff at 74, the next day you realize it more because you hurt more. I mean, the other day helping David change the tires on his car and picking them up and throwing them over the back of the pickup bed and grabbing them out and doing all that stuff. At the time, it was a lot of help and it seemed like a good idea. The next day, it seemed like it was a bad idea. As my shoulder was sore, I was doing my weightlifting here with the dumbbells and could only get it up about like this and going, oh, wow, that hurts. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So maybe I'm not getting wiser, maybe I'm just getting older. But now we've got a whole year to figure that out and become 3/4 of a century at the next birthday when I turn 75. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to just the number. I mean, it sounds better than 74, doesn't it? 75. Wow, 3/4 of 100. Good. So. The other thing I wanted to talk to you today about, I've got a lot to say today, so this is probably going to go on YouTube and maybe get emailed to some people and also put out on my Facebook link, is the fact that, the other day, Trump decided that, hey, maybe kids are getting too many vaccines. Maybe all these vaccines aren't good for them. Now, the mothers on the Make America Healthy Again group had gone to him and said, listen, 70-some vaccines before you're 3 years old, that just is stupid. And we're finding out, it's causing autism and it's causing other issues. I mean, we've actually had children die from getting too many vaccines or vaccines that they're allergic to, or maybe just getting, people still out there saying the COVID vaccine's a smart thing to do. Except even, Secretary Kennedy says it's the worst vaccine out there and don't do it. But I still have people show up here at my house every now and then and they're like, oh, well, that was great. The government's out trying to protect us. You just don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, tell the parents of dead kids that have died or other people that have fallen over on stages and things after taking the vaccine as a reaction to it, that it was a good thing. Yeah, come on, let's get real. So, getting the vaccine schedule reduced, I have a video here that my wife Pam did with Pray in the Name of Jesus. I'll put that on probably later as a separate video because it runs about an hour. But it talks about the fact that all these vaccines are doing nothing more than polluting your body. And they weren't even developed for what they were trying to do. I mean, they weren't, you saw what was going on with Fauci and all the aftermath of that. Those vaccines were not made to keep you from getting COVID. They were made to make your immune system die so you would be more susceptible to other things. And that's just a fact. And if you don't believe it, fine, don't believe it. And next time they come out with a series of vaccines that don't seem to make sense, go ahead and take them. You'd just be feeding into the plan to get rid of the population. And, it's kind of one of those things that it's like, yeah, we want to get rid of the population. The dumb people who think that's a good idea, go ahead, take the vaccine. Go for it. So the other thing that I think has been interesting this week is the fact that, the motorcycle meeting up at Sturgis, South Dakota went on last week, and now they're on the road heading to arrive either late tonight or tomorrow for Dearborn, Michigan to support the rally there against Muslims and Islam and Sharia law. And of course, that side, the other side, has decided they're also going to hold a rally, and they've got plans for having 20,000 Muslims show up. So I think on the 18th of this month, when those two forces meet, it'll be interesting. And what's really going to be kind of sad is the fact that I do believe that the government representatives, being our police force and others, are going to step in to protect the Muslims. Unless, of course, it just kind of slowly builds, and you got both of them going. Then I don't know what they're going to do, because the choice is, do you support the Constitution with people who are trying to support the Constitution, which will be the bikers, or do you support the insurgents, the people who are trying to come into our country and institute their own laws under Sharia law and rape and pillage and cause all kinds of problems? So there's going to be a decision point there also that's going to accompany these two factors coming together on the 18th in Dearborn, Michigan. I would highly recommend that you watch it. In other words, watch that date, see what goes on. This could be the start of something much bigger than just what's going on in that big town. So that's the way it is. Kind of on that note, we're still fighting a war against Iran. And, Iran last week came out with all these demands, which kind of looked like they thought they'd won the war, which is kind of interesting. But here's a video by people in our country supporting our actions in Iran, and what's going on there. And that is, and following that with another video about, why are you telling the Iranian people that we're supporting you and we're going to remove the tyrannical regime that's there so you can institute a better government? If that's what you're telling them, our government and President Trump specifically, then you damn well better follow through on it.
Bombing of school, that was not President Trump nor Bibi Netanyahu. That's them killing their own kids. And so blaming it on the United States and blame it on Israel. We as Iranian people, we know what they're doing, and we support the President Trump. We support Israel and what they're doing. If they don't do it right now, World War III will happen, and all the American people will get impact.
For some reason, the world expects the Iranian people to overthrow the regime alone, no outside help, while that same regime imports riot weapons and machinery, surveillance tech and cameras from China, and brings in terrorist militias from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iraq to brutally and mercilessly kill Iranian civilians. Someone tell me, what kind of bullshit double standard is this?
Because I personally believe that we've already screwed over the Iranian people once, following the removal of the Shah back in the 70s and what went on there. And now we're contemplating doing it again by saying, well, if we can make a deal, we'll make a deal with the current regime, and we'll get the Straits of Hormuz open, and we'll get oil prices back down and all that sort of thing. That's not the goal. And if that was the goal, why are you telling the Iranian people that we really want to come in and help them establish their own government and possibly be a democratic government that will help and assist America's efforts in the region? That should be the goal. That should have been the part of the Plan 5 that I talked about weeks ago, about the plan had no plan part 5 to it, which was, okay, after you win the war, what do? What's the goal here? I mean, under the Weinberger Doctrine, what was our intent going into Iran? And why didn't the American people get a full picture of it? It wasn't just to remove Iran's capability to make nuclear weapons. Yes, that was one of them. But then we continued to tell other countries that we wanted to open up better trade for oil. We wanted to let the Iranian people set up their own government. We made all these other promises. And if America is really going to be the America that it represents to the world, then it damn well better follow through with its promises to people in that region. So let's just see what happens. And you can watch these two videos, because this is what these people think. And they're kind of right on, in my mind. Well, after we win the war, let's see what happens. I mean, that's just kind of what's going to go on. The other thing that's going on, of course, on Saturday, I've got 50 chickens that I'm taking in to finalize the butchering of the meat birds I've raised this year. I was kind of chuckling about the fact that while we were in Virginia, I mean, this was the setup that I used to process chickens, and I don't have it now. I left it in Idaho under the negotiations that were done kind of behind my back to get me off the farm and leave all the equipment there that I had for doing farming. But I'm looking for this processing system that you see here. But back in Virginia, I had friends of mine show up, and they were wanting to get into chicken processing, and my 8-year-old, Caitlin at the time, took them out, and they spent the morning catching birds. And I will tell you, catching chickens that don't want to be caught is funny to watch by amateurs because they don't know how to work as a team, and they don't really it's just funny to watch. I mean, let's face it, they're chasing chickens around and they're falling down and the birds are flying past them and all that. And it's like watching a rugby game where you have humans versus chickens and the chickens are winning. That's always kind of interesting. So I'm going to get those done and get all those birds processed on Saturday and into the freezer, and they will be totally full, that being my freezers, of chickens. So I'll have about 100 birds in there that will get me then through the season, along with the beef that I have in there and all the other stuff that I make, so that we stay resilient and ready for anything that might happen. Because as I've also told you, I believe that our food supply is going to have some real problems come later in the fall. We are not going to get the production that we generally do, and the whole rest of the world is going to start having food issues. And that's going to be another one of those areas that we just need to watch and monitor and take steps for if you want to protect your family and make sure they have food going into the future. And not just food. And it's one of the things I'm having real issues with farmers. You know, they're like, well, we need to develop better fertilizers and everything else. And as long as we're making money, we're being sustainable. Well, you're not sustainable if you're not making money. But the truth of the matter is, if you're sustainable and you're totally destroying the property and the land that you're raising your food on, and you're poisoning other people, hence the glyphosate being used on most of Middle America, and it coming down with heavy rates, 58% more cancer and autism and Parkinson's, then maybe you're really not helping the people. Maybe you are just poisoning them so you can make a profit. So look at what you're doing and make good choices. And good choices are protect the land, make good food for the people that you're growing it for. That's your job, not just making a profit. And I'm really getting tired of hearing farmers go, well, we're making a profit. Okay, well, that's not the only criteria. It's one of them, I'll admit that, but it's not the only criteria. And lastly, of course, I still have my 34-foot TSB trailer for sale. I don't have it out sitting along the major roadway here so people don't see it. I've got it on some sites up for sale. So I haven't had any action on it lately, and if I don't do something, I'll probably have it for another year and it'll wind up going back out next year. But right now I've got cows out there. The cattle are doing well. Got 18 on there. It looks like I'm going to be able to keep them on the property this year. We've gotten, as much as people are saying, well, we're having a drought and it's really being bad, and we are. Colorado River is really down. And the council that met here last month saying, what are we going to do about this, haven't come up with any solutions. So I think that's too bad. But here lately we have had some great rains. The grass is still holding in the area, and the cows are really enjoying it, and they're doing a good job of putting weight on. And so it looks like I've got at least a couple more months before I send them back to the person that I've got them from, and they can send them to market. So that's how it is. So that's kind of all I got to say for today. I know a lot of it doesn't seem good. This whole thing in Dearborn, Michigan kind of reminds me of the Citizen Vigilante movie, and here's a short clip on that, because part of the problem with that movie, or at least one of the areas that it brought out, was our whole legal system. I mean, last week, one of the major topics that I thought was somewhat funny, not funny haha, but funny peculiar, is the fact that even the rapists and the pedophiles that have been put in jail, that literally got past the legal system and were put in jail, the convicts don't like them either. So this one guy killed like 3 of them in a day. And you have to kind of say, well, does this constitute good behavior, since our own government and the legal system aren't doing anything to get rid of people that are predators and people who are taking and raping and killing kids and women? I mean, are we going to let this set, or are we going to start removing judges that don't seem to be able to uphold the law, which is their job? But people, I've told you this before, judges are political entities. At certain levels, they're elected, and they're either Democrat, liberal, or Republican, and you can, after elected, they follow what's going to get them elected again, because once again, we're back to that money issue. You lose your job, you're not making money. So you want to stay judge, you support the people who put you in office instead of supporting what the law says. And I kind of like this video that I'm going to show to you now, and I'm going to end with that. And it's going to show the Citizen Vigilante movie talking to the judge who let these rapists go. and then him dealing with him so he won't do that again.
I'd like to show you something. Let's see what you have to say.
Right. This is all I have prepared, and this is all what I'm going to say.
Our politics failed to integrate teenage migrants into our society. Also didn't give them the help to function by our rules and our laws. The gang rape was in a way a cry for help and structure. Not only the young girl is the victim, they are also victims.
Because in
You
the
really
rape,
believe that?
not only the victim, also the perpetrators are getting traumatized.
It doesn't help the young girl if they're getting locked up now.
That was you after letting a gang of rapists free. You let a gang of rapists go. You know what that makes you? Just as bad as the perpetrators. You might as well have raped her yourself. Maybe that's why you decided to come out here and drown your sorrows.
Other than that, have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend with your family, and may God bless.